Glendenning.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever in Toastmaster history, I have been handed my introduction on an iPad. This is pretty exciting for me. I got to get in the 21st century here. Terrence White has been told several times that his speaking ability is above his realization. After overcoming his fear of abandonment and rejection, he wrote an ebook to help others overcome their fears. In this speech, Terrence will attack vocal variety in Project 6 of the Combatant Communicator Manual. It's been renamed. His objectives are to use voice volume, pitch, rate, and quality to reflect and add meaning and interest to his message, use pauses to enhance his message, and use vocal variety smoothly and naturally. In his speech, Fear, learning to run over what you run from, Terrence will for the first time attempt to tell one detailed story to emphasize his main point. With vocal variety and attempt to use one detailed story, in his speech, Fear, learning to run over what you run from, help me welcome Terrence White. I also need 3 volunteers. 3 volunteers. There's 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you. All right, Terrence.
Here. Learning to run over what you run from. Can I have the first card? There's a card that has number 1.
Fear is learned.
Fear is learned. 2004. Graduated high school. My plan was to get away from my entire family. What I learned about fear, or the fear that I learned, abandonment and rejection. My plan was to get away from everybody. Go to North Carolina. I was accepted to a school of culinary arts. Go there, start a new life. In the middle of that, my plan was to go to Tennessee, say goodbye to my family, say goodbye. So I get there and end up not getting to North Carolina. My father and my grandmother didn't believe that I was accepted into the school because I had to sign loan papers. Immediately, they said, no, you can't go anywhere. You have to stay here. Went to Tennessee State University for a semester, came back to California. Now here's where I learned more of the fear of abandonment and rejection. I was chosen to work at a job with one of the family members of an organization that I'm in. And his plan was to let me work with him. I'd go to school, and he would help me become the better person that I needed to be. In the midst of all that, he had internal motives, I guess I can say, because I wasn't able to stay in his house. I had to stay in somebody else's house. And I felt rejected because I chose to leave my family, stay with this guy who made me promises. But in the midst of all that, me having confidence in him, I felt rejected. Who has the second card?
I control my thoughts don't control me.
I control my thoughts don't control me. So, feeling rejected and feeling like I wasn't loved, I had to get myself around people or get myself in an atmosphere where I knew that I had a better personality than I thought I had. So I started to read books, get around different people, listen to motivational tapes, to place myself in a state of, you're not as bad as they say you are. You are loved. You are surrounded by compassion. And then there was a transfer of thoughts that happened. Because there's the learned action and there's the actual action. Who has the third card? Stand up and read that.
The hokey pokey.
the hokey pokey. See, this is the fun part of learning fear, changing your thoughts, and then the hokey pokey. So we're going to do something a little different. Everybody stand up. Who remembers the hokey pokey? All right, so we're going to do the hokey pokey. You ready? So put your right hand in, take your right hand out, put your right hand in, shake it all about. Do the hokey pokey and turn. That's what it's all about. So go ahead and have a seat. The purpose of that is when I learned the fear, had to overcome it, transfer the thoughts, there was an exchange of personality that happened. I had to understand where I was, put my right hand in, then take who I was and who I was becoming and separate them, took my right hand out, and after that, understood who I was as a person. Understanding that I have a fear, I don't have to stay in that area. I can run from that fear, shake it off, turn around, and be another person. See, I ran from my fears. And constantly, it caused me to stay in that state. So now, I want to bring the fears that I have and make it more relative to everybody. Because not everybody feels abandoned or rejected. But some of us have a fear of relationships, or a fear of success, or maybe a fear of being open with other people. So now what I do is I make sure that I don't go back to thinking that, because one person treated me a certain way, maybe certain promises, that I'm stuck to being in that area. I make sure I place myself in an atmosphere of people who give me positive feedback, or read positive books, or look in the mirror and say, you are this, you're confident, you can accomplish goals, people look up to you. Then I do the hokey pokey. And make sure I shake off those negative feelings. So this is what I challenge you with. The next time you have a fear of something, if it's a fear of speaking, if it's a fear of being open in your relationships, a fear of accomplishing a goal, think of all the positive things that could happen if you were to go after that thing. And then do the hokey pokey. Shake off the negative feelings and the negative fear. Just go after it. Thank you.
We have a minute on the clock for Terrence's evaluation.